First Lady Melania Trump's rare public statement on Thursday caught many, including survivors, off guard as she denied ties to Jeffrey Epstein and called on Congress to give survivors a public hearing to testify about their experience.
Each and every woman should have her day to tell her story in public if she wishes, and then her testimony should be permanently entered into the congressional record.
Joining me now is Epstein survivor Marina Lacerda. She was listed as minor victim #1 in the Epstein federal indictment, enabling prosecutors to charge Epstein with sex trafficking in 2019. Welcome, Marina. I'm curious what your first thought was when you heard the First Lady calling for congressional hearings for Epstein victims to publicly share their stories.
Thank you for having me here today. I think, all the survivors are very confused why it took her so long to give this speech and the statement. I myself think there's something way more than this. I think there's something behind why she wants us to give a testimony in front of the whole public. We have shared our stories over and over again, and it's very confusing why we have to do it in a public hearing.
And here's something that you and other survivors have issued, and it was a statement calling Melania's messaging, quote, a deflection of responsibility, not justice. What do you mean by that?
Well, it's very simple, right? When the attention is shifting over to President Trump, and maybe it's going to be shifting over to, the First Lady in the next couple of days, I think she's trying to shift the attention back to us. We have done all the work, Alex. All the survivors have been in different platforms sharing their whole story. If the public wants to hear our story, all they have to do is go into our platforms and hear our story. Sharing our story in a public hearing will not give us any results, right? We have all these names, we have the files out there. Nobody has done anything. It will not make a difference if we share our stories. And sharing our stories publicly does not mean, and only then, it'll be the truth. Our stories are in the files. We gave FBI statements. We have our 302s. Everything out there is the truth. We don't need to set the record straight to the public for it to be the truth.
And I can see exactly why you feel that position, and it certainly is justified. But just to push back, there are some who say, Marina, that revelations from survivors, that continue more of them, could help advance investigations and maintain public pressure. But here's the question. Why does it seem the burden of that keeps falling on survivors?
Goes back to me saying we need to take the attention off, with what's really going on, and then shift it to us. Because when the war was going on, nobody was really paying attention to the survivors and the Epstein files. And I think reality here is, where are the rest of the files? We need to release the rest of the files. OK, and not only that, we have these prominent names out there who have done some serious crimes. We have not investigated them. The question here is, why are these men not testifying, and why do we have to testify? We've already testified in front of Congress. Some of Congress, about 7 or 8 of us, have done it back in September. And it was my first time when I actually had to, break my silence. It is very confusing why we have to do that again. We already do it in many different podcasts. We share our stories openly. We do a lot of work on our side. It is not up to us to name the names of the perpetrators when they're already out there, and to share our stories in a public hearing. It's very confusing. I myself don't mind sharing my story in a public hearing, but I think it's only fair if we do so that the perpetrators will do the same.
Last question. What does accountability even look like to you, Marina? Is there something that would help you and other victims finally close the door on this dark chapter in your lives?
We need to hold people accountable for what they did. We need to open up investigations on many men that are on those files. We need to open up investigation on the women who have said these allegations about various men. We have not looked into that. We are completely ignoring that, and now trying to shift the attention back to us, saying that we need to do a public hearing and say our story in front of Congress. If that is so, if we are going to do that, what is going to be the result? Are the men that have been on the files and have been named, are they going to testify as well? Because it's very confusing to ask us to testify all over again.